The 12th Sunday of Ordinary Time. And again, we have a little court scene in Job. Just a short review of Job. Job had everything, and the devil and God had a bet, kind of a bet. Job was really faithful, and the devil said he's faithful because he's also full. He's got everything: farm, animals, wife, children. If you took that all away, boy, he would curse you. So little by little, the story goes that Job lost everything. And even his friends tried to have him admit, well, it was something you did, or God is not worth trusting. So God takes Job to court in the first reading. It's just 4 verses from the famous 38th chapter, but I highly recommend reading Job someday, but especially the 38th chapter, because it says, let's go to court. I'll present my proof. And so what we hear in the first reading is, where were you when I did this? I did this, I did that. Where were you? And the evidence convinces Job, and what we don't hear, he says, oh, I am your straw-headed opponent. I can't win that. So Job had a good complaint. And as I said, I think last week's homily, the little church, the Church of St. Mark, is fragile. Small, and they grew. Today, the church is out in a boat, a good image for the church. And, of course, ocean is always chaotic. And it's interesting that the apostles were in one boat with Jesus, and there were other boats. So the community is growing, but they're out on the chaos. They're out in the world. They're being tossed and blown around. Figuratively, they're on an ocean, or the story is they're on the sea. And the sea is always a symbol of chaos and uproar. And, Jesus is asleep, which we can sometimes say God doesn't care, or God is not attentive. So he's sleeping in the back of the boat. How you can sleep in the back of the boat when the waves are pouring in on him. But that's the story. And they wake him up with their complaint. And he says, be still. Quiet. And the storm quiets. And he turns to them and says, how come you were afraid? Where was your faith? And they said, our faith went out the boat with the last wave full of water. A very good human experience for individuals and for the church. So that's the gospel scene, a very short gospel too. And they get to the shore quietly. Excuse me. There are things to do. That's what faith is about. That when we have complaints, and I've often prayed, when we say thank you with this hand, we always say, and keep it up, or more please. And when we complain, we forget the past. The apostles had been taken care of by Jesus, but the past is the past. We're dealing with the present. And so he calms the storm and everything's fine. They get off. He will say to them one way or another, where is your faith, little church? Where is your faith, little believer? We are very fragile. Our boat is very fragile. The church is fragile. Humanity is fragile. And we have lots of complaints. But one of the ways to live through it. We have many sadnesses, friends sick, dying, family members, division. I say, I'll never be happy again. I'm always going to be sad because. No, eventually we land on the shore. But we have real complaints, and it is very humanly healthy to be afraid. I don't want to have a belief system that says, if I'm afraid, I don't have any faith. No, it's because they had fear that they could experience his care for them. Faith doesn't take away humanity. And we have hearts and memories, and we are asked, to look backwards in order to look forwards. What proofs is there in our lives? What proofs are there that God is faithful, that life is worth living, that I am okay? The past can be frightening too, but the future, we don't know. Are you going to be asleep? Are you going to take care of us? We have needs. They are real. And so we pray with our terrors, our fears, our life-saving prayers. They thought they were going to get thrown into the ocean. So are we. We're very afraid. We want everything to be nice. And it's not. So what's our prayer this week? To be honest, yes. To pray, but not just pray in petition, but to pray with faith. I will watch how you wake up and how you calm my storms. And I will remember, because there's going to be a storm next week too, or next week, or next month. I live from storm to storm. Can we trust walking bravely and courageously and faithfully into the next storm, whenever it's going to be, personally, family, community? Can we trust? Where is our faith? Sometimes it goes right out the door. But God is faithful. God still is God, and will collect us and bring us to the shore. Not angelically. The shore will be meeting our humanity again. We are on a pilgrimage. We are on a journey. We are on a sailing, whatever images for you. Faith is challenged by reality. And so we are really called to be faithful, not because we know, but precisely because we don't know. He reaches out to us, and we reach out with need, and he reaches out with invitation. Receive it well. Life's journey, life's storms, and God's care.